These are 10 questions you should ask a realtor before hiring one. It doesn't matter whether you're buying or selling or doing both. Obviously, you want to make sure you choose the best agent for you, and the answers to these questions will help you to determine that. I'm Patrick Grosser with the 513 Flat Fee Real Estate Group at Fathom Realty, full-time realtor here in Cincinnati. And if you stay to the end, I'll actually show you how you can find out my answers to these questions as well, in case you're curious. The first question is, how long have you been working as a real estate agent? This is probably the most obvious question to gauge their level of experience, how long that agent has been a professional in the industry. It's obviously important, whether you're buying or selling or doing both, to have an expert in your corner, someone with experience. Obviously, you don't want to work with someone who's brand new in the business or is just getting their feet wet in their first year, unless you feel like it's a personal friend and you owe them a favor or something like that. This is a big decision to buy a home, to sell a home. It's a huge financial transaction, and you want to make sure you have a professional in your corner with the experience necessary to successfully navigate you through the entire process, from marketing your home if you're selling to searching for the right home if you're buying. And in either case, once you're under contract, to navigate through inspections, appraisal, underwriting of the loan, get you to the closing table, not only to achieve that goal, but also to reduce your stress as much as possible. Experience from an agent is absolutely crucial in helping you to achieve your goals. The second question is, are you a full-time agent or a part-time agent? You may be surprised by the answer if you interview a few different agents. Most of them are going to want to convince you that they're dedicated to their craft. But realistically speaking, if they're a part-time agent, they're obviously spending some of their time, maybe even a majority of their time, doing something else for work. So it doesn't make sense, in my opinion, to work with someone who's not fully committed to the profession of real estate to navigate you through the buying and selling process. The third question is, what areas, if any, do you specialize in? This is a great question to determine if you're looking for specific expertise in a certain area. Maybe your search for your new home is narrowly defined, or maybe you're in an area that's kind of different than some of the areas in your city. Maybe your suburb is pretty unique. You want to make sure you have someone who has experience in that area. Now, that doesn't really mean that someone who's not specialized in your area can't do a good job for you. But if they do meet all of your other qualifications, and as a bonus, they actually specialize in your area, maybe they even live in your area, that's certainly going to help with their knowledge and their expertise to navigate the process for you and to give you the best results possible. The fourth question is, can you provide references from your past clients? Now, some will actually provide testimonials on their websites, and some will actually be able to give you names and numbers of people that you can call and actually ask about their experience live over the phone. So that's certainly something that interviewers do for any job applicant. So it makes sense if you're interviewing agents, again, whether you're buying or selling. It's more common when you're selling your home to interview agents, but not a bad idea to do it if you're buying as well, to kind of get an idea of what has the client experience been. So in addition to what the agent will tell you about their expertise and their ability to help you to achieve your real estate goals, you ought to get some information from people who they've actually helped in the past. This will also kind of settle the question of how much experience do they have, but very importantly to understand their client satisfaction. So obviously, if you have rave reviews from clients in the past, that's going to put you at ease knowing that this agent can really help you, especially if you find a testimonial from someone who's actually in a similar situation to yours. You can be assured that this agent is the right one for you. The fifth question is, if you're selling, how will you market my property for potential buyers? And if you're buying, how will you help me to find my dream home? So of course, if you're selling, you want to find out, does the agent actually have a comprehensive, detailed marketing plan, an actual strategy that they can walk you through step by step on how they attract as many buyers as possible to your home to make sure that you sell as quickly as possible for as much money as possible. And if you're buying, they should have access not only to the MLS, but some other resources, maybe even some inside deals that aren't on the market yet with clients who are thinking about selling, or they can connect you to as many options as possible so that you can be sure you'll have access to find your dream home. Number 6 is for sellers. You would ask the agent, what is your average list to sale price ratio? Now, this is a little bit of insider data, but essentially what this tells you is how often do they sell your home for the price that they originally listed for. So it indicates that if they have a high list to sell price ratio, that will be in the high 90s, maybe even over 100%. It would indicate that they typically know from the very beginning, before you even market the home, what it's actually worth. And they do a very good job of the market analysis to make sure that you don't list the home at a too high of a price where you would sit on the market for a while, that you actually list it at the price that it's worth, and that to potential buyers it appears like a good deal, so that they actually offer what you're asking or maybe even a little bit more. Another add-on to that question, the follow-up would be, what is your average days on market? In other words, how long does it take from the time you list the home that it's ready for showings to the time that it goes under contract? That would tell you and give you a good idea if you do hire this agent and they give you the market analysis and tell you what your home is worth, what they would recommend listing it for, it would give you a good idea of what to expect to actually sell for and how long that would actually take. Number 7, how do you communicate with your clients, and how often should I expect to hear from you? So whether you're buying or selling, this question applies. Of course, you would hope to hear that they're accessible 24/7 and that you can call, text, or email them anytime. That's generally the answer you'll get from a lot of agents, but I would actually recommend kind of shying away from an agent that way. It might sound like a good idea at first, but what you get is kind of a bit of confusion. If it's, contact me anytime, I'm here for you all hours of the night, every day, including holidays, you don't really have very much clarity on, like, is it okay to text you at 11:30 at night? Can I call you at 6 a.m.? You kind of have the expectation that you can do whatever you want, and of course we know that's not really true. Obviously the agent has to sleep, they have to eat, they have to take a shower, etc. They're not available 24/7. So you would hope that an agent would answer this question, having the accessibility of calls, texts, emails, things like that. We certainly don't want to narrow it down to one communication channel, but they might give you preferences for certain types of discussions, certain type of information. Like they may say that, well, we're going to email you once a week on Mondays if you're listing, let you know how things went over the weekend, how many showings and offers we had. If we get an offer, we're going to contact you right away. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to call you. We're going to send the offer to you via email. At least give you some clarity in certain situations, how the information is going to be communicated to you. And that will give you an opportunity to discuss with that agent, if they're flexible on that a little bit, to accommodate your preferences as well. A lot of the difficulties in any business, but certainly in real estate, and the issues that people have with not being satisfied with their experience come from bad communication. And that comes from initially having some expectations set up front for how we're going to communicate with one another. And of course, you want to choose the agent that best meets your needs in those regards. Number 8, what is your fee structure? How much do you get paid, in other words? And what services are included with that? Now, this is much more applicable to listing agents if you're selling than it is if you're working with a buyer's agent, because the buyer agent commissions are typically set through the MLS. That's not something that the buyers actually pay for directly. It may be different in your market, in which case you can go ahead and ask this question of buyer agents as well. But in terms of selling your home, you definitely want to know what they're going to charge and what they're going to do for that compensation. And what you may not know, and what a lot of people don't know, is that the services that are provided by listing agents actually can vary pretty widely, anywhere from basically no service to limited service, all the way to full service. And even the term full service may actually be different agent to agent, because some may offer professional photography and videography and marketing on the MLS and social media included. Some may not offer that at all. Some may charge more for that. So you really want to be careful and actually get a line item. I recommend a list of services that they provide and have them explain each one of them if you don't understand what that is, and ask each agent that you interview the same question. Make sure they actually will compare the line item services for you, because that's really their value proposition. You don't want to know just how much do you have to pay to get it done, but also what is your experience going to be? What services do they include with that? How much work, if any, do you have to do yourself? If there is some work that you have to do yourself with this agent and they're charging less, maybe you would opt to pay the one that's going to charge more, but would offer you actually more service, more of a done for you rather than do it yourself solution. It's certainly totally up to you as far as what the value is and you see in that, but you want to get an idea of the the quality of the service, the number of services that you're getting, and compare that to the price to determine ultimately what is the best value for you, the best fit for you when you're selling your home in terms of what the listing agents offer. Number 9 is a common question that I get asked all the time, and other agents get asked by their friends and family just as a conversation starter. How's the market? Seems like a very simple question, maybe too vague for an interview, but I think it's a really good question whether you're buying or selling to ask a potential agent, because their response to that and how detailed they are in their response to that is going to help you to understand their level of expertise. If they say, well, the market's really hot, and that's all they have to say, well, that's not really very in-depth. But if they can tell you market stats from memory, that actually indicates that they're studying the market on a daily, weekly basis. They have their finger on the pulse of the market. They may give you some anecdotal evidence too to back that up in terms of whether they've recently dealt with multiple offers with a buyer or a seller. And they may be able to tell you some stories or some data about your specific area and give you an idea of how hyper-local the market actually is. We all hear a lot about the national real estate market through the news. You may hear some about the regional as well, but if the agent knows hyper-local, meaning specific to your area, what's going on in the market with actual examples, I think that's a strong indication that they have expertise in your area and that they're a student of the market and will ultimately help you to get the best results whether you're buying or selling. Number 10, how do you deal with multiple offers or bidding wars? Now, this is a great question as you're interviewing either listing agents or buyer's agents because it applies to both situations. You want to know as a seller that the agent's going to leverage multiple offer situations, bidding wars, to get you the best price and terms for the sale of your home. Get as detailed as you can on the step-by-step process they go through to get you the best results. As a seller, you ultimately get to decide how that process is handled. So if you're uncomfortable with the way that agent recommends handling it, but you still want to work with them, you may be able to tweak that a little bit with them. But there's certainly better approaches than others. Some are just kind of a one-size-fits-all, give us your highest and best by this time, and whatever happens, happens, which is certainly a very common approach. You may want a more detailed, a more intentional approach where we can actually leverage all the different terms that are best from the different offers you have, and maybe be transparent with the other buyers and just to see if that they can actually sweeten the deal, maybe get you an even better price in terms than you were expecting originally. And if you're buying, of course, this may become even more crucial as how do you approach multiple offers? How do you get your offer to rise to the top? In addition to price, which is the obvious way you can compete to win the bid in a multiple offer situation, what other terms are really important to the sellers or that specific seller? What can your agent find out? How good are they at getting kind of the inside information from the listing agent in terms of what terms do the sellers really want that would help your offer to rise to the top, help you win the bid in multiple offers so you can actually buy your dream home. So feel free to write these questions down, use them in your interviews as you're evaluating listing agents and buyer's agents, whether that's in Cincinnati or some other market. And if you're curious how I would answer all of those questions, you can read the blog post that's related to this, or you can read the description here in the YouTube video. I'm Patrick Grosser with the 513 Flat Fee Real Estate Group at Fathom Realty.